Yooka-Laylee is back in a remaster that I'd call more of a reimagining, taking it away from just being a Banjo-Kazooie lookalike and into something else entirely. Let's take a look at this new take on the first game. Here is my review of Yooka-Replaylee for the Nintendo Switch 2. The story here has not changed. Yooka and Laylee crash land onto an island with a magical book whose pages are quickly stolen by the evil corporation leader Capital B. They go on an adventure through the worlds of Capital B's company to reclaim the book's Pagies and save it from the corporate mastermind. There are a few small changes here and there, like an added prologue to show them finding the book initially, but it's largely the same story. With gameplay, this is a 3D platformer collectathon with upgrade elements. While it still retains the spirit of the original as a successor to Banjo-Kazooie, this is a reimagining that takes a lot of the dated clunk out and makes changes to have it be more of its own thing than just Banjo-Kazooie with a lizard and bat. Now the core idea is still here, with you navigating a hub that goes into different worlds, where you have a sandbox and are gathering collectibles and pagies, this game's versions of Jiggies or Power Stars, from exploration, puzzles, and boss fights. But the first core change was the addition of new moves letting you do more with attacking than just a simple tail swipe, and all of the game's moves are given to you during the intro. Because you won't be unlocking them as you go, there's no need for backtracking and the game is much more accessible. To balance this out, the Snake Merchant now trades the Quill's collectibles for upgrades like health and power boosting or new costumes. There's also a new currency for the vending machine, giving you cosmetic clothing items and outfits along with tonic upgrades. Equipable game changers that were in the original, but now you can equip multiple at one time. The content of the game itself has also doubled. Each world now has 50 pages apiece versus 20 in the original game, and the overall number has spiked to 300 total, likely to balance out the fact that in the original game you had a lot of open space in each world where you didn't really do anything. Now you will be endlessly walking and finding pages to unlock, be it one sitting on top of high platforms or with puzzles you have to complete to unlock them. The rest is quality of life. The stamina gauge is now gone for the lizard roll. They've added warp points to fast travel through levels in the hub. The camera follows you around without always requiring you to move it, and many of the moves feel less clunky. All around, the game feels more polished. It's nice to be able to just fast travel away and not have to backtrack in the galaxy world just to find a fly power-up to reach an island you've already visited. And all of this made me really feel one thing as I played through it. The game's title of Yooka-Replaylee was meant to be taken literally. It feels like the game was designed for people who've already played the original, giving them an extremely accessible way to replay the game with a ton of new things to find and do. The original was meant to feel exactly like Banjo-Kazooie, clunk and all. This feels more like a nod to the 3D collectathon genre in general. Though I will admit there are two things I don't really love about the new balancing. The game is accessible to the point that you'll always be ahead of where you need to be. I took a single trip around each world, coming out with around 20 of its pages, and when I unlocked World 3, I already had enough to unlock 4 and 5. And there's a huge difficulty spike when you get to the finale. Most of the game feels very casual and easy, most of its difficulty in the more time-sensitive race missions with the green gems. And while it is no longer the 7-phase smash fest that was the original's final boss, it's a gigantic shift when you go from almost no difficulty at all to what we get in the redesigned finale. That brings us to content and length. Despite the lack of backtracking, there's still a lot to do here. I got to the end just after getting 120 pages and finished the game in around 10 hours total. You could easily double that for collecting everything. Next is presentation, which is really nice. The visuals have been overhauled from the original and there's a ton of detail everywhere. If you look really closely at the models just not moving at all, there's a gigantic amount of visual and moving detail on Yooka and Laylee's character models. The hair on Laylee's head is admittedly a little weird looking, but most everything else looks great. And that hair fuzziness can easily be covered up with a quick trip to the cosmetics and equipping a hat, or my personal favorite, the Shovel Knight costume. There's also a bit of blurriness when you're flying around in Galleon Galaxy specifically and looking at the faraway islands. With performance, the Switch 2 version is locked to 30 FPS, with the developers looking into the possibility of a performance mode. Now the 30 FPS here is stable for the most part. You will find areas where it will hiccup and stutter here and there, but I'd say this is a lot more stable and consistent than the Switch 1 version of the original was when it initially launched. It may not be perfect, but it's pretty good, especially with how visually pretty the game is. Next up is battery life. On the Nintendo Switch 2, Yooka-Replaylee will give a battery range of about 2 hours and 40 minutes per charge. In conclusion, Yooka-Laylee is back in a remaster that doubles the collectibles, fixes a lot of small issues, and feels like it was made for OG players to replay that original game in a new way. Now the downside, the game's 30 FPS stutters and hiccups from time to time, and it's almost too accessible to have you miles ahead of where you actually need to be. But if you enjoy collectathons and want a lot to do and collect, it's a fun little platformer. Reviews to go rates Yooka-Replaylee for the Nintendo Switch 2 an 8.5 out of 10. If you're interested in more 3D platformer content, check out my review of the Gex trilogy for Switch and Switch 2. And if you like the content, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys in the next one.